everyone. Was it a try? Did Vaimauga knock it
Woo!
on? Did he knock it backwards? Was there enough evidence to conclusively overturn the referee's decision by on the night? Oh boy, this is going to be a great episode. A great episode. The biggest topic pretty much over the weekend and still going. The debate keeps raging on. Did Was that a try or wasn't it a try? Basically, I'm losing my words here because I'm still enraged. So, but anyway, before we go into it, I'm John. Welcome to another episode of Couch Warriors. I'm joined by my co-host and good mate Richard, the bandwagon conducting laddie. How's it going, bro?
Good man, yeah, you're straight into it. I was expecting a little bit of an introduction, a little bit of a hey, how's you going, bit of banter, but no banter today.
No.
We're straight into it. We got things world issues to sort, and we're starting with what happened, that travesty which happened on Friday night at Mount Smart Stadium. Love it,
Yeah,
John.
yeah. No. I thought, it's what's on everyone's mind at the moment. Everyone's talking about it. There's a lot of, everyone's talking about the controversy around it. People are sort of divided about their opinions about what happened, and stuff like that. And I'm enraged for other reasons as well. But look, we'll get it right into it, okay? But before we get into it, there's one thing I want to mention. Before we get into all of this, is that there's a Warriors junior player. His name is Noah Jensen, who is currently battling a rare blood disorder. He was diagnosed with it late last week, and right now he needs really significant treatment to to deal with that. So I want to say, just to send a lot of prayers and loves to his family and to his whānau, and also the Warriors have set up a give a little page on their page, so we'll share it to our Facebook and Instagram, etc. So people can, if you want to give some support to Noah and his family, yeah, go there. So just wanted to say that first before we get into everything. So all right,
Nice,
let's
bro.
get into it. Yep, let's get into it. Okay, so first on the agenda, the controversy behind that bunker call. So first of all, as you all know, I don't even have to go explaining it to everyone because everyone knows what we're talking about here. The Warriors chasing a win there. Looked like they had it in the bag. It looked like it was like it looked like a decision where like it wasn't going to get overturned. The ref called it a try because it looked like there was just he couldn't call not try, right? You couldn't call it not a try from his point of view. But then the bunker controversially overturns that try, which looks like you can't really tell what happens there. Like he dives in the air. You can't even tell if it touches his fingers or not. And so look, I know I'm losing my words here, so I'm just going to go straight to you, Richard, and say what were your thoughts on that particular play?
Oh well, yeah. Just for starters, at the time I was absolutely fuming because I had been up jumping around my living room. It seemed like it was one of
Yeah,
those. And there was still 5 minutes to go in the game, so it wasn't ice, but we had the momentum at the time, and yeah, I mean it looked pretty good first up. Went up as a try. Generally, when it goes up in a try, you have to have some pretty clear evidence that
yeah,
it's something's happened, which means it's not a try. And yeah, whether the evidence was there or not, I don't know. Like we watching it live, I think from the angles that we saw, I don't know. Like I know the bunker do they have different stuff they can
do
see. I
they?
think.
Do
I'm
they?
sure they've. I'm sure. I mean, they've probably got. He's probably looking at the three different angles at the same time and watching this. But yeah. I mean, from the footage that we saw, um, I would say I was very surprised that it was overturned. I don't. It didn't look like that it was there.
Yeah,
But knowing what we know now, obviously, Demi Vaimauga, who was the man in question, who knocked the ball back, or forward, whatever
yeah,
whatever way you want to say. He came out after the game and said, he was like, yeah, I touched it, but and then he also put a good point, like, but I was, my back was to the goal line. I thought it went back, but yeah, knowing that, I like it probably is the right decision. If it's come through and touched it, it probably has gone forward slightly. But
yeah,
yeah, whether or not there was well, there was not. I don't think there was sufficient evidence to overturn it, especially when it's gone up a try. If it had gone up a no try, I'd understand that. I could take that. And the frustrating is you think about it. If that had been if we'd just been tackled on that play and then scored a play or two later, they probably wouldn't have even gone back and looked at it. So yeah, maybe we should have just taken the tackle there and played a
yeah.
couple. We had the numbers and all that, but Yeah, as I said, originally I was fuming. I had a wee same game multi on. I had Pompey and Lomax to combine for 2 tries, so that leg would have come in from that. The other 2 legs were Lecker to score a try. Oh, 3 legs. I had under 28 and a half points or something like that, and over, sorry, and I had Warriors plus 6.5. So
Yeah.
yeah, the decision cost me about $150 as well. So I was also
Oh,
fuming about that, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that I think, yeah, right decision was probably made, which has calmed me down a little bit, but it still, yeah, frustrates me. The bunker, I feel like they have to sort of come out there and say that
yeah.
what they
Well,
did.
it's fair enough. What your point is fair enough in valid, etc. And it's this is the reason why I'm going to lead into like why this should have not been overturned because you're saying this right, and I'm saying, for example, I still believe it was tapped back from all the angles. And just going back to what you were saying about the bunker, does he have different angles? But the thing is, on when you're watching it live, the bunker's going back and forth, rewinding it, while you're watching it at the same time. So what is it? What is he watching? If he's watching something else, what's happening there then? But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the bunker
I
has
say he's
extra.
probably got a couple of different
Yeah,
angles up at the same time that are
yeah,
all getting all
yeah,
synced up, and he's seeing it from different ways.
yeah. And so when I watched it live, like on slow motion, I thought I couldn't even tell if he touched the ball. I couldn't. It was more like, oh, did he or not? I can't tell. And if he did, the ball's not traveling forward. That was how I looked at it. And I'm not being biased here. I'm saying it for how I saw it. So when it got overturned, I was really fuming because I just thought that how can you say that was conclusive evidence that he touched the ball? Because people are asking, even the commentators, sorry, the sideline reporters asked him, did you touch the ball? So for them to ask him, no one knew if he actually touched the ball or not. No one knew at the time. So that's where it goes down to why did they overturn it when you can't really tell if he touched the ball or not. And people are saying, for example, on social media, and this is where I'm getting really annoyed with as well. They're saying, oh, he admitted he touched the ball, but the thing is that happened way after that was after the game had ended. You didn't. No one knows that at that point of time. And so I don't understand how they could conclusively say that was enough evidence to overturn the decision. So that's what I was feeling about. But at the same time, you know, um, Vaimauga and Webster, they both said things like, for example, Vaimauga said at the same time when he admitted he touched it, but he thought it went back. He also said that wasn't the defining moment of the game, though. And Webster said that we shouldn't have been put in that position. So we shouldn't have been in that position. And I totally agree. So like, despite the fact that I do believe the bunker got it wrong, I believe that they should have. Well, whether people are saying it's the right
So do
call
you,
because
do
he
you,
did touch it.
yeah. So he touched it. Do you think? Yeah.
Yep,
So knowing that, do you still think it? You still think
yep.
that you're still
I still
confident it
think it
went
went back,
back?
and I'm not being biased. I just from what I saw, from what I'm seeing, with from Oyongi, sorry, is in front of him at the time of touching, and the ball sort of goes into Oyongi, but he's placed like sort of well, when I say in front of him, say behind him, like they're facing this way, they're facing this way, sort of thing. So at the point of contact, I've had a close look. I know everyone's got different opinions, and some people are going to say that's rubbish, John. But that's what I think anyway. And I'm saying that from a neutral position. But at the same time, I'm saying the Warriors shouldn't have been chasing the game like that in the first place. Why did it take them 60 minutes to accelerate? Why did it
Yeah.
take them 60 minutes to figure out? Oh, wait, we got to do something here. Why did it take them that long to do something? Why did it take them so long to think, okay, let's play some footy now. Hey, we've done nothing for 60 minutes. Let's start playing for 40. Let's start playing some footy now for the next 20 minutes. That's what's annoying about this, right? Because they could have, if they had played, just similar to what they just did in the last 20 minutes, I'm sure that it would have been a different story. But they didn't. But they didn't. That was the more frustrating part. Is that so? I agree with Demi and Webster when they say that we shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's completely right.
yeah,
We didn't play well. We didn't play like a team who was fighting for a spot in the top four, did we?
yep, yep,
Like or who was in the top four, and all we needed to do was win, and we'd stay there for another week. Um, and yeah, it was good to see 20 minutes of sort of good footy from the boys. But even then, we got a bit of momentum, and then we let Iongi scored his second try, and that was just from a pretty poor sort of defensive effort there.
Yeah,
Chance was just flustered at the back, He did. It was like they were playing touch footy, and Ungi just,
yeah,
just ran around him. There wasn't even anyone from to pass to, but he just burned Chance around him. And it's a shame.
yeah,
Chance had a pretty good game, I thought. But there's moments like that where you make and break a game, and that just put them up. I think it was 26-16 at the time. So yeah, it meant we still needed to score another 2 tries, and we scored one quickly. Leka getting his second of the match. Great to see him back on the scoring some points and all that. But yeah, I mean, when a moment like that happens, and there was about 3 or 4 moments like that in the whole round, like
yep,
I don't
yep,
know if you watched much of the rest of the games,
yeah. I
but there
did.
was there was a couple of moments in that Roosters game that I think it was sort of when the game was out of reach, but there was a forward pass there. I think it was to Tedesco, maybe pretty clear forward pass. There was a very clear forward pass in the Broncos
More than
Cowboys
one. Yeah,
game.
more than one. Yeah,
The one from Shibasaki that went about 5 meters forward, and you just
yeah.
you look at that and you think, hey, how yeah,
What's the point of sideline refs?
what's the
What's
ref doing?
Yeah,
What's the touchy doing?
yeah.
That's
What do they do?
and then
Yeah,
later on that game there was the Nanai and Tony Staggs, and both of them I felt like the bunker looked at it for 5 minutes. I think if the bunker's coming in, it isn't called on, but it's coming in and it's taking 5 minutes to make a decision. Like should there be a time limit on how long the bunker has to make a decision like that? Because it's
yeah,
like if it's been given a try, they're not being asked, they've come in, like just if you have to look that many times to see whether it is or not, it's probably benefit of the doubt to the attacking team,
yes,
So,
yes,
and that's what, like, as soon as it had been, probably 3 minutes and that, I just thought, oh no, they're overturning this, aren't they? And
yeah,
you sort of, I still looked at it for what felt like another 2 minutes. It was just one of the longest women looks the bunkers ever. It's like they're just thinking, it just comes back to the old. I did find my comment. Yeah, I said before I was fuming on Friday night. This is my
yeah,
comment on our post. The NRL just really don't want the Wars to do well. That was a shocking call. I'm effing fuming. So Rissy Michael, great,
yeah.
great wise guy.
That
that
guy.
was that was before I had
But
heard what Vaimauga had said.
yep. And look, and that's why I'm saying that your example is perfect in this situation because to sort of like give to back up what I'm trying to say here is that like you were fuming and that was your comment and I bet you a lot of people were the same way such as I was but then when they heard that Demi touched it then their minds go okay maybe I'm not sure like maybe it did go forward maybe it did go back maybe they're a bit like 50-50 on it right now right so but the thing is with people thinking like that it still means that it's not really conclusive though you know what I mean it took him saying it for you to think oh, okay wait a minute maybe
Oh
not
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So what I mean is what I'm trying to say is that the bunker is in the same boat as everyone else. It doesn't matter what angles he got. You could hardly see the ball touch it. Someone had to ask him, because no one really knew. So the
Hmm.
thing is, the rule, and people can say, well, John, well, that's the right call. But the thing is, at the time, at the moment, at the heat of the moment, right there, the ruling is that if there's no conclusive evidence, you can't overturn the on-field decision. That's where I think where it's gone wrong. I think they've just gone over the top and said, okay, I think it might have touched him, so we'll say no try. You can't just do that. You can't just do that on a thought. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I know that a lot of people say that Wars fans are very but quite whingers and stuff. But we have a lot of reasons to be whingers. This stuff happens to us all the time, but it's not just us. A lot of other clubs are getting that sort of stuff. Look, I mean, the Broncos against the Cowboys as well. That was horrendous officiating. It was horrendous officiating there as well, and there were a few,
Great game
like you
though.
said, yeah, they were a great game, but there were a few games this weekend, this round where the officiating was just terrible. There were quite a few games. I mean, even you go back to the Wars game as well, you saw that all that stuff that happened, with the exact Lomax that knock on.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't, I just can't believe that it's like so blatant, and I don't understand it. I just don't get it. Just don't get it,
Yeah, I
and
mean, stuff like that's pretty inexcusable. Like that was,
yeah,
like watching it live, I was like, hey, that's a knock on, and I think the commentators like that's a knock on, and then you just you wonder how your touch is there, and you just I get that you just you might have a lapse and whatever, but why can't the bunker come back and say actually that was a bring that one back, for something so clear.
Well, let me ask you this question, buddy. Should the bunker be allowed to rule on knock-ons? 'Cause at the moment they can't. So should they be allowed to rule on knock-ons? Should they be able to look at knock-ons and overturn a decision?
Well, they can look at knock-ons, can't they?
Oh, sorry, so not
So
knock-ons, forward passes. Sorry, my bad.
yeah,
Forward
yeah.
passes.
I was
Sorry.
like, I was like, wasn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what we've
yeah.
been
No, no,
talking
no.
about for the last 10
Yeah,
minutes?
like I said at the start, I've been fuming, so all my words in my mind are getting all mixed up here. Sorry, forward passes. So
Yeah,
let me start the
I
question.
thought that was what you might. I
Let me
thought
start
that
the
was
question
my.
again. Let me start the
Okay,
question again. Let
give
me
me
start.
hit me.
Yeah, pixie dust, pixie dust. All right, all right. Should the bunker be allowed to overturn? Should be allowed to make calls on forward passes?
Well, the obvious issue there is it going back out of the hands, isn't it? So
Yeah,
you couldn't just tomorrow say, okay, we're going to do this. There'd have to be some sort of process that they follow, or some sort
yeah.
of, I don't know, like they get like a Hawkeye sort of thing, like some sort of technology which
The line
allows
and
them
stuff.
to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
allows them to see exactly whether the ball's going back out of their hands, because it does sometimes. It does go back and then it sort of floats forward that's what happens when you got someone moving and they pass the ball. That's
yeah.
science. You can tell I didn't even do fifth form science, don't you?
But
But
yeah, do you think they should be
yeah.
able to rule on it though? That's the question.
Oh, I mean, if the technology is there, if there's a way that they can make sure that they're sort of clarifying when
Yeah,
it's going back out of their hands and when it's not, absolutely. We see it too often, two clear ones. Hey, it happened in the Eels game. I don't know if you remember, about 3 years ago. It was Eels
yeah.
game.
The Warriors,
Um,
yeah.
it must have been before Rog win, I think. Yeah, and he was running down the right edge, and
Gerard Beale.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exact one.
yeah,
And pretty clearly looked like it didn't go forward. But so something about the Eels, and that was similar. I think that was a game late in the season, and we were sort of fighting to make the eight, and potentially missed out on the eight because of that loss. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it at all. But
yeah,
as I said, you kind of need to get something there that you're making sure
yeah.
that you're getting around it, because yeah, I mean, it just happens too much.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And I mean, it's not just forward passes. It's just incidents like that howler. There's a lot of howlers that are going on in the game. I mean, our game is it's a beautiful game, rugby league, but there are a lot of officiating howlers. I know they're all human and stuff, but some of
Just
them are
just
just howlers, eh?
just get rid of the bunker.
Yep,
You know,
I'm with you
and
there. I'm
just
with you there.
and like you'd be just everyone would be happier for just accepting. Okay, look, that's. I mean, it probably no. Well, I mean, people wouldn't be happier because then we'd still be able to look at replays, and
Yeah,
everyone would. Yeah, the refs would be getting more abuse. So we don't. That's yeah. If there was a way to do it and just everyone was nice and understanding, it'd be good, wouldn't it? But unfortunately,
yeah.
that's not the way the world works these days with social media and all that. So
Yeah, I mean, speaking of social media, I mean, like, I got pretty like annoyed with a lot of the comments. Like, I understand people are entitled to their opinions and so, and that's fine, but there are a lot of comments, so many comments, people saying he admitted he touched the ball. End of story. It's like, those people have got the attention span of a dinosaur, where they don't actually listen to the fact that he said right after, I thought I touched it back though, but they're missing out vital pieces of information there of his quote. Sort of thing. So it's just like that was annoying me a lot. Where just so many people saying, "But he admitted he touched it." But also he said he believed he hit it back. So that's what I'm saying. That really annoyed me. And it's like even in the Parramatta presser, after the game, with Jason Riles, he was just like I remember him. He got annoyed with one of the NZ journos there saying. Asking him the question. He's like, I don't know why you're asking me this. It was clear as day. I'm like, Jason Riles, pull your finger out, mate. It wasn't as clear as day. He made it out like it was clear as day. Mitch Moses right next to him saying the same thing. I mean, Mitch Moses, he had a brilliant game. He's a brilliant player. Attacking, he can kick, he can attack. He's got it all. But still, Mitch Moses, pull your finger out, mate, because it's honestly it wasn't clear as day. So of course you're gonna say that, because you're from Parramatta and stuff. But yeah, no, I didn't think it was clear as day. I saw another, Triple M. I think it was Triple M radio station over there in Aussie. They had Brent Reed, the journalist, that one-eyed muppet, saying the same thing, saying, "Oh, it was clear as day." Nathan Hindmarsh said it right next to him, but Nathan Hindmarch is a Parramatta legend. Of course he's going to say that. But I love Hindy, so it's all good. But I didn't think it was as clear
Yeah,
as day as what
he
everyone's
he would
saying.
have
You know,
been.
like
You
yeah,
imagine he would have been. It could have been a bit of tongue in cheekness in there, a bit of
yeah, yeah,
irony.
exactly. But you think, and that's it because I'm pretty sure he was going along that path where Brent Reed was going serious about it. I'm like, you muppet, you serious muppet. Anyway, okay, now I'm calmed down now after all of this. After all of this, we did actually go and ask everyone, on our social channels what they thought because it is a big controversial decision that was made. Everyone's a bit quite divided. So we had over 400 votes in our polls across Facebook and Instagram. So I'm just going to quickly go to them right now just to see where we're at with them. So on Facebook we had way less votes than Instagram, but still we had 40 votes. Um, where is it? 40 votes where 34 said 34 people said not enough conclusive evidence to overturn the decision. Two people said Vaimauga clearly knocks the ball forward, and four people said Vaimauga clearly knocks the ball back. So that was Facebook, and I'll go to Instagram, which has got a lot more, but I won't read out the numbers too much because I've been individual because I won't have them here. But let me just go through them quickly. Instagram, the poll, same poll. We had 394 votes, and we had 35% say try. Vaimauga clearly knocks the ball back. 7% said no try. Vaimauga clearly knocks the ball forward, and 58% of people voting said try. Not enough conclusive evidence to overturn the decision. So that's where everyone's at on our channels. But I'm presuming most of them are Warriors fans, anyways. It could be a bit biased, but yeah,
Yeah, probably something in the name.
something in the name. But I'm with those high percentage decisions. I'm with them because I agree that you shouldn't really be able to overturn a decision that of something that doesn't look conclusive. And I'm just being straight up honest. I'm being neutral here. Like if it was a knock on and it looked like it went forward, I honestly would say, as you know me, I would say that just like you think it did, and that's fair if you think it did, but I just didn't think it did. So that was my thought. So a lot of people are fuming about this, especially Warriors fans, but. I guess there's nothing we can do about it now. We have to move on to next week to Manly, to this week, sorry, this coming round on Friday. It's a lot to play for. Still a top four spot to play for if other matches go our way as well. But we'll go into that soon. But first of all, let's just quickly review the game itself because we've been talking about the controversy, but we haven't actually spoken about the game itself. And I mentioned before, we were chasing the game for like 60. We started to chase the game. After 60 minutes, that's when we started to put our foot on the pedal. But yeah, before that, what were your thoughts on the game in general? Like especially for that first 60 minutes.
Yeah, we just looked very very lackluster. Couldn't get much going on attack. I mean, we weren't playing bad. Like I had a look through the stats and all that, and we pretty much dominated every stat you want to dominate. So we had 54% possession. We completed at 81%. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. Eels did complete 91%.
Yep.
We led the runs, the run meters, post contact meters, line breaks, tackle breaks, kick return meters. We had to make less tackles. We had less missed tackles. We did have more errors, but we had less penalties, only 3 penalties, and less
Yeah.
six against. They had 7, we only had 2. So something about Jackson Ford not being there really gets the penalties and the six against down. So if you looked at the stats, not looked at the score, you'd think, hey, it's probably a
Yeah.
convincing performance from the Warriors, a convincing win, but the score doesn't show it, and yeah, from watching the game, doesn't show it either. So
Mm.
um, yeah, just plenty of questions about the attack.
Yep.
Um,
I'm with you there.
Coming into you watch the Roosters, the second half of that Roosters Storm game. Yes, I mean the Storm arrested a few guys, but Roosters put on 40 points and a half. You watch that Broncos Cowboys game where the Broncos put on 36 points, or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Sharks put on plenty of points for the weekend. Penrith, fielded their B team, legit B team against a pretty good Bulldogs team has been playing pretty well, and
Mm.
they managed to keep it sort of competitive for about 60, 65 minutes. So whoever missed, obviously the Storm. Yeah, they rested a heap of players, but
Yeah,
we know what the Storm can do when everyone's back,
yeah,
back and fit. So I just worry, yeah, about us in this top eight. Like, and if we're going to be, not scoring a heap of points, we need to be defending well, which we were early in the season. You look
yeah,
back to sort of the first 16, 17 rounds where we were just defending well and we were grinding out these really tough wins.
yeah,
And we just sort of, there's a couple of injuries we've had in pretty key positions have hurt the team. And there's still the fact they were able to sort of, you know, rally back and twice in the game and probably should have won the game when you think about it. Actually, legitimately, like with
yeah,
the way that we did, probably did score that try. That's promising stuff. But if we're not able to sort of play better than that against an Eels team who are playing better than they have been the rest of the season, but they're still, I don't know, 12th, 13th on the ladder. So um, yeah, just plenty of questions all around. Um, yeah, good to see Rog
that's
continuing his good run.
yeah,
The young boys all sort of had a bit of a part to play. Leaker's had a few quiet games, so it's good to see him sort of, getting back into it. Adam
yeah,
Pompey's looking really good at the moment, playing some of his best footy you've ever seen and play pretty much. He's got a really good try. Unlucky not to get two.
yeah,
Had a good try assist for Rog. So the back five are sort of doing the hard work, but we're just lacking that spark. You watch the Broncos, you see what the
Reece
likes of
Walsh,
sort of Reece Walsh can do.
yeah,
You watch the Roosters. They got Marky Mark on the sideline. Got Tedesco playing a mate. We're just missing. We've got a lot of really hard workers. So if we are to, if we can get it all together in the finals, we might be able to get one or two. But yeah, we need to be better on defence, it's the lapses in concentration which really let us down on the weekend. And you look at probably Addo try, that
yeah,
was just you got to keep playing until the whistle goes, and we should have scored there, it was just knock on the end goal. That Jack Williams try, that was just some real weak defence. Both Ongi's tries sort of came from Tuolagi line breaks, which were just wasn't like he was smashing through. It was just a
yeah,
bit of a weak attempt. And
yeah,
then obviously that chance sort of Ongni just ran around him. Like made it
yeah.
look like he was playing touch footy, made Ongni look like 2011 Sean Johnson pretty much. So um, yeah, so that's I don't know
No,
what
no,
to take from that.
you've summed it up pretty well, mate. I like that summary because it's actually spot on. I was going to say the same thing. Like, our defense was lacking, and because when our defense lacks, that's when there's a big problem because we're not
Yeah.
putting a lot of points on. So if our defense is not showing up, that's when there's a problem because our attack isn't great at all. We were very stale on the
Mm.
weekend for the first 60 meters. Sorry, minutes. Sorry, 60 minutes, and our kick chase was poor. I wrote down here. Our defense was all over the place as we just talked about. Our last tackle plays again, just really ordinary, and it was just I don't know, there was no spark, and then like you said earlier before you were reading out the stats, but you would think, oh, they did pretty well, but it was pretty much just back and forth. Warriors getting out there, kicking it to them, then they just ran it and did something. It was just the same stuff. There was nothing innovative. There was nothing creative about it. There was nothing spectacular about it. It was just like going back and forth, and I don't understand. I didn't understand what they were doing. I was just sitting there going, What's going on here? Yeah, guys, you're completing your sets. Good, awesome. You're completing sets and stuff. But what are you doing with it? What are you doing, with these sets? It was nothing. And unfortunately for the Warriors, like you said before, they've been grinding. We've been at the start of the season, we were grinding out wins. So we're putting enough points on the board to win, and then we're defending our hearts out to
Mm.
keep the opposition out, and we were doing that. But that stopped now. And then during that period of time when we were grinding out wins, we were slowly starting to get our groove on when it comes to attack. That's when that Sharks game happened, when we just everything just went to plan, and then we just looked amazing. But that's when we had Metcalf there. That's when we had
Barnett,
Metcalf
yeah.
running the ship, and we had Barnett,
It was getting Barnett
etc.
got injured, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
I think yeah. I think you
Or
might
maybe it
be
was a
right,
week
yeah.
after. Maybe it
And
was a
then
week after.
the week after, Metcalf got injured against Brisbane, and then so basically, what I'm trying to say is that we were slowly starting to get a bit of our groove on in attack, but then when our main playmaker, it was one of the reasons why we were putting points on the board in those games prior to his injury, and then you got and Barnett, who was one of he was just our front runner. Not only was our skipper, he was that motivational inspiration where he was just doing the hard yards, and he was the one that was inspiring the guys to come do the job, do the hard work and stuff. So when those guys were out, then things just went to poo. And like we were scrambling to find a playmaker because everyone was complimenting Harris Tavita and a lot as well. And he's been like I said, I've said this so many times. I don't mind saying it again. I believed he was a more of a complementary player to Metcalf. Metcalf was doing majority of the playmaking, managing the team on the field. But then when he was out, they were trying to find another number seven to do that. And they've been in between Tamata Martin and Tanner Boyd, and they both can do it, and they're both good players. I mean, but it hasn't been up to that standard yet of what Metcalf was doing. And Harris Tavita, I thought he had a great game the week prior. I thought he had that was his best game and a half as I've seen. Because before I've been talking about him, he's not a half to me, and that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just don't think he's suited to that position. But then at the end, and he had a great game. I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe he's on the verge of starting to pick it up again. But then he was pretty ordinary in my view in terms of attack, etc. A lot more on his shoulders now that Metcalf's gone. I just don't think he's lived up to it, and yeah, I don't know. I think personally, once the season's over, they might have to readdress our spine. Like I'm really torn about the Chan's issue because, situation because again, he does so good from the back in terms of eating up all those meters. He gains so much meters and stuff for our forwards. He gains a lot. Gets us out of the half, which is awesome. But does he offer more than that? Like you see the
Yeah, I
likes of
mean,
Pappenhausen,
uh,
Tedesco. Those fullbacks. All the other fullbacks, Reece Walsh, for example. Not only do they get out of their halves, they got their playmaking abilities as well, where they sort of like tear defenses apart. They tear them apart and stuff. So I don't know. For me, he doesn't have that. He has
no.
all the other stuff we're talking about, but he doesn't have the attacking sort of attacking playmaking fullback in him. That's what I believe. People can say you're wrong, John. That's fine. It's all good. That's just how I feel about it. I just don't think. I think if you're a fullback, you need to have a mixed combination of all those things, and I just don't think he's got the combination of all those things. In Tuapiki, for example, we love Tuapiki. He's got the attacking ability, but he probably doesn't eat as much meters up as Chance does. He doesn't gain as many meters as Chance does. Let's be honest. So who do you put in? Who do you put in?
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you don't need a fullback who's running 320 meters a game, which is I mean,
it's
it's
awesome. Yeah,
it's not a bad thing to have, but
yeah,
it's not really generally a fullback's job to be doing that, and
exactly.
especially when you got the likes of Dallin and you got Roger at the moment. So whatever happens next season, whether there's obviously talk about Roger sort of going overseas, and I think Dallin's still signed on for a year or two. So,
Yeah,
but no, I mean he'd probably be suited on the wing to be honest. They tried the centre experiment, didn't really work, did it?
nah,
And now Rockaberry's back, and him and Pompey, I mean that's our best centre pairing we've got.
yep,
And so hopefully they can stay fit, especially Rockaberry.
yep,
But yeah, I mean, next season they're probably best to do that. But I did want to ask you, John, just while we're still
yep,
talking about this,
sure.
I was thinking about the other day. If we could sign anyone in the off season just
Oh,
to give us this the spark on attack, that's obviously a real concern, especially with Metcalf out. For anyone from any NRL club, anyone overseas, I don't know how much Super League you watch or anything, you want to bring Bevan French back or something like that. But yeah, if there's one player that you think the Warriors could sign in the off season to help their attack for 2027, what year is it this year? 2025.
2026.
2026 going on. Who would it be?
Nathan Cleary.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Can't argue with
that's no,
that.
no, and these are my reasons though. These are my reasons behind it because you could pick Mitch Moses as well. You've got Jerome Hughes as well, etc. But the reason why I wouldn't pick Jerome Hughes is because while he's a Kiwi and he knows that environment, he's been in the New Zealand environment, so he'll probably be used to the Warriors sort of environment. But he's been engulfed in a storm environment. And I bet you it's a lot different than what it is at the Warriors. The culture, just the environment and how the atmosphere. I think he's more suited to where he is at now. Whereas in Mitch
Yeah,
Moses, probably the same thing. But whereas in Nathan Cleary, he grew up in New Zealand. He grew up around the Warrior system because of the fact that his dad was the coach. He grew up there. He knows it. He was embedded in there for a while. And then also he plays for Penrith, and Penrith is probably, if you look at a club that's similar to the Warriors, probably Penrith. With the surrounding areas and the district around Penrith is all. Predominantly there's a lot of Polynesians there. A lot of Māori people there as well, a lot of Kiwis. So he probably and you look at this, look at the Penrith team for example, and
yeah,
a lot of Polynesians, etc. A lot of Kiwis in there. So I just think that he would be suited because of that, not because he's an amazing player. He's got the kicking game. He can attack, and he can just run the game easily, and we all know that. But I think also he would fit in easily. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I'd pick Nathan Cleary because he would fit in easily, but he can also do all the other stuff as well, and he's a star. So yeah,
yeah. No, I like that. And
yeah,
also with Webster having coached him before as well,
yes,
and I
there you
think
go. Yeah,
obviously a lot of Andrew Webster's the way he coaches is he's learned a lot from Nathan Cleary. I think there'll be a lot of similarities, and the game
yep,
plan, like that is
yep,
why we're not a flashy team. Penrith aren't a flashy team. They're not a team that puts on, like the Dolphins have been, and even sort of like Manly the last couple of weeks, and the Broncos. There's teams that put on sort of 40, 50 points. No,
yeah,
they can get some convincing wins, but a lot of the time they know how to grind out a win, and the game plan's very much based around him. So I think and we've got
yep,
a young Cleary on, New South Wales
yep.
Cup. Hopefully we'll see him next
And
year.
and
So we'll
that's
see
and
how
that's what
he
I'm really
goes.
hoping. That's what I'm really
Yeah,
hoping. He's gone from Jersey Flag straight into New South Wales Cup, and he's already shown he's got the goods in New South
yeah,
Wales Cup. So I really hope he gets an opportunity. He's here for till 2027. He's got next year in 2020 as well, 2027 as well. And I really hope he gets the opportunity because we're lacking in. I mean, I'm like I said, we'll probably talk about this in our sort of once the season's over, and then in an episode that we'll do where we'll talk about what changes need to be made. I really believe the Warriors need to address their spine. Really because that's where we're really weak. A combination spine, like where everyone is doing their job, and I think not just one individual does one thing and the others are just doing mediocre sort of type thing. So I reckon we need to address our spine. But yeah, Jet Cleary, I would love to see him get a chance at some point.
mm,
Um, we're also getting some new players. We get another 5'8" as well from that Newcastle boy. I
Newcastle
keep
guy.
forgetting his
Yeah,
name, Jai Linney or something along those lines. I
yeah,
keep
yeah,
forgetting his name. So we're getting some new halves, new halves as well. So there's going to be a lot of competition, and I don't think that you could just think that go into the next season we're incumbents. So I reckon the more competition, the better. So anyway, mate, look, we've talked about the game. It was a really frustrating game, and game that I believe we should have won. And I just what frustrates me more than anything, like I said before, is the fact that we started chasing it when it was just too late. We started chasing it when it was too
yeah,
late, and I think we should utilize Liquor a bit more. When he like 9 times out of 10, you kick the ball to someone like Corey Oates, for example. Um, Catches the ball 9 times out of 10 and scores a try. If you get the ball to Liquor, as long as it's around the try line or over the try line, 9 times out of 10 he's going to catch it and put the ball down. We should do that
yeah,
more often. We should do that more often. How many times has he caught the ball? When they kick to him there, they should try and use him more often than in that play. He's just so good in the air. His
yeah. Well,
athleticism, he's great.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've compared him on a number of occasions to Katoa and Nenai,
yeah,
and like he is. So those three are the best three second row jump, like
yeah,
second row options as far as kickers go into them. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean it worked on the weekend. So hopefully they have learned something from that, and we see a bit more of it because especially when you're kicking to that sort of centre, like
yeah,
often the wingers are the ones who are really well. Yeah, they practice it a lot, but
yeah,
if you're getting in that and the bit closer to the middle there, the players haven't practiced enough, and he's obviously not the tallest guy, but he's just he's got hops,
yeah. He just times it
and
times it
skills.
well, right? Times it
Yeah,
well. Like a goalkeeper, arms are in the air, not catching it like this. Arms are
yeah,
like up the top over his head. So no, he's not scared to do it. He's not afraid to jump up, and he gets his timing right. And again, 9 times out of 10, he's going to score. So they should utilize that more. Look, mate, we've already
yeah,
spoken nearly 40 minutes about this game and the controversy and everything else. Let's get into your Wally M's, get into your segment, and then we'll get into the to one more part about where our top four, can we still make it, and then we'll get into the final match of the season.
So there's yeah. So Mali Eames, our Delhi Eames equivalent, where we give our 3-2-1 for the week just gone. Um, yeah, I mean there was a couple of even though we could have been better. There was I did have a few issues. I think I had three players I knew they were going to do it, but I just didn't know what order to go in. But
Yeah, yeah,
I ended up settling on Pompey for three.
nice.
I think yeah, he's in absolute brilliant form. Had a try assist. Just thought that he just looked really hungry every time the sort of ball came his way, and he had 17 tackles, and I think he had zero misses as well. So yeah, defended well, 149 running meters, which is pretty big for him and for a centre in general. And yeah, the try assist he had for Roger was beautiful. Nice little flick around the back. You love to see that. So that left edge is looking really nice. That great little combination going there. So, and obviously should have scored two tries. Unlucky not to. So, yeah, Pompey gets my three. Rog gets my two. Scored his 12th try of the season. He's just on an absolute. Yeah, he's just playing some of the best footy I've seen from him. And it's different to what we've seen in the past. It's not as flashy as usual, but he's turned into a really hard worker. But yeah, had two line breaks, had 8 tackle breaks in the game, 29 runs for just short of 300 meters. So I feel like it's about the fifth time in the last six, maybe 7 or 8 games he's run for 250 plus meters. So yeah, he's just playing very well,
Yep.
and good to see him score another try. I think he is either equal top or the top try scorer for the comp for the team. And Leka got my one. Yeah, just thought the impact off the bench was great. Obviously, two late tries showed both his ability to get up and catch the bomb as we saw. Like the kick looked like it was way too long. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, it
watching it,
did.
I was
It
like,
did.
oh, he stuffed that up. I think even the commentators are like, oh,
He's
that's too
overcooked it.
long. He's
Yeah.
overcooked it. But hey, if it works, if you can make it work, he had, yeah, I mean, 8 runs for 90 meters. So it wasn't like he had a heap of the ball, but made the most of it when he did, and had a really nice little run off Tanner Boyd's shoulder as well. So Tanner Boyd actually, yeah, set up both those tries, a couple of try assists for him. So although he's not lighting the world on fire, he's still shown potential of what he can do.
Yep.
Yeah, so like yeah, Licker off all that off 46 minutes, I thought was pretty good. I did want to shout out to Chance at 328 meters, obviously off 32 carries. Obviously, I mean, I don't know what they do. He's a hard worker. He'll
Yep.
do the job, but yeah, he's just not as flashy as some other fullbacks in the game. And whether that's what we need when our
Yep.
attack is a bit stagnant, I don't know. I thought Fisher Harris was brilliant. 23 hit ups of 195 meters and 27 tackles, and then yeah, as I mentioned before, Boyd was pretty good as well. So just wanted to mention those some good stats from those fellas. The Fish in particular, I thought one of the it's basically the biggest output game I feel like we've had from him the whole season. So
Nice.
coming in to really make his mark late in the season when we're pretty short on middle forwards with
Yep.
Jackson Ford and Mitch Barnett both out at the moment.
Yeah, nice, nice. I like that. I actually had the same exact numbers. I had RTS, Pompey, and Liquor as well, but in a different order. But
Okay.
um, but just going back on Chance, I like no dig at Chance. I like no question about his mana, and the workload that he does, and what he does. He does, and the stats don't lie, right? It's just that I feel like he needs to offer a bit more in attack. Because the thing is, we are lacking in attack. We are that's what we just talked about before. We are lacking in attack, and it's not his fault, but he is his role is part of his role and responsibilities is to be part of that attack where he's like a playmaker as well, towards and so on the edges there. So and you see it from all the other fullbacks, like I said, like Walsh, Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, all those other fullbacks, they do it well. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
Dylan Edwards is probably the most similar. I feel like you think of
yeah,
other fullbacks for the comp, and I mean he makes it work, and I mean Chance makes it work. So, you're never going to doubt his
yeah,
effort. He always puts up really good numbers. But I just feel like at the moment with the way our attack is, we need you do need something from your fullback, and it's just a part of
yeah.
a game, his game, which he's a different kind of fullback than that.
Yep, and I totally agree with you. Like I said, no digs at him. He does a great job. It's just like you just said there. Like you might need a bit more from him. In terms of a fullback. So totally 100% agree with you. I'll just quickly go through my Williams RTS 3, same reasons as you. His try, scoring some tries there as well, and just puts the effort in. And I mean, I wonder if he's actually, where he is at for Dally M Wing of the Year in terms of points because of the workload. But I think
Well,
there'll be way. Yeah,
he
no,
must be up there,
well, a
I
lot of other
reckon.
wingers are doing really well, like Corey Holtz and stuff.
Xavier
Corey
Coach, you
Holtz,
mean?
Xavier Coates. Sorry, I'm having a bad day with his names and stuff. Xavier Coates, my bad, from the Storm.
When you said it before, I was like, that's a real bizarre example of someone to.
I was thinking about the yeah. I got the Brisbane Broncos player mixed with the Storm
Yeah,
player. Yeah, sorry, my bad,
name's
my
kind of
bad.
similar. I'll give it to you. Oats
No,
and
no.
coats.
Honestly, this whole flipping this whole controversial thing has got me fired up and overwhelmed.
Oh,
And
we're,
getting
we're not talking about that anymore, bro.
yeah,
We've
yeah, no, no,
moved
no. I'm
on.
just saying it's got me getting my names wrong and everything. But Xavier Coates, sorry. So Xavier Coates, yeah, no, I think that's what I meant before when about in terms of leaping in the air, and catching
Yeah,
9 times out
yeah.
of 10
No,
he'll
I
catch.
got you. I got you.
Yeah,
I'm feeling you.
yeah. So yeah, no. Anyway, I think he'd be the lead runner for wingers, but I thought RTS might be up there. But anyway, 3 points. Pompey two. I thought he had a great game as well. I thought he's just getting better and better each game. So it's great to see him because a lot of people gave him a lot of stick in the last couple of seasons. So yeah, Pompey two and Lecker one. For the time that he got on and scored 2 tries. Really, that was an awesome try that catch in the air where he gets over there. But also that short ball, like you said from Tanner Boyd and he goes through. I love that. Love the fact that he can still do those sort of things as well. So yeah, hope we see more of it. So those are my 3-2-1s. Yep.
Nice, bro.
Yep. All right. Well, look, mate. Look, it's already we're already we're getting to the end of this episode, and we've spoken too much on previous games. So look, top four. We're out of the top four now. I think we're in seventh position now because the Sharks and the Broncos
Sucks.
have leapfrogged us. Yeah,
But
six.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
six. Oh yeah, because Broncos will be in fourth, Sharks will
Yeah.
be in fifth. Yeah, so we're in sixth position because those teams have leapfrogged us. But there is still the chance that we can make the top four. But we have to win our game, and the Sharks and the Broncos have to lose. Because we're all currently now on equal points, but there's no way we'll be able to leapfrog them with points differential, and that's something that's coming to bite us in the ass
I
pretty
don't know,
much.
bro. I think we could sneak a 70-point win this weekend and overtake the Sharks.
Are you gonna put a bet on it, mate? Are you gonna put a bet on it?
You'd
Yeah.
love to
So
see it.
yeah. So no, look. Do you honestly just quickly just over a minute or so? So the Broncos they're playing the Storm, aren't they? They're playing the Storm this weekend, aren't they?
Yeah, Broncos have got the Storm on Thursday night, and then
Yep.
the Bulldogs have got the Sharks got the Bulldogs on Saturday. So obviously playing against good teams, but
Will they rest them?
when you
Will
look
they rest
when you look
players?
at the
Yeah.
yeah, well, you look at the ladder, that neither of those teams can lose their spot.
Yeah.
I think the Storm are on 40 and the Bulldogs are on 38 maybe, and we're all on 34.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no way that those teams could. So yeah, imagine the Storm might not because they rested Harry Grant.
Well,
Did they?
Harry Grant was out of suspension.
Oh, what was that for?
I can't remember what it was for, but he got
Oh yeah, no, I
suspended.
think I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they rested a couple of the guys.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Katoa and a couple. I think a couple of their forwards and okay.
They
Yeah.
did
So
rest a few players. Yeah.
yeah,
They
yeah,
did.
they had a pretty weak team. So they might, get a few of those guys back and want to get a bit of momentum coming into the finals, especially when they probably will play the Bulldogs. So it's probably the best option for them because the way the Bulldogs are playing, they'd be the one team that I'd like the Warriors to play at the moment because I feel like
Yeah.
we could out muscle them, even though we didn't play great against them a few weeks ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, Broncos, Storm, Bulldogs, Sharks. I suspect one of them will lose. So we might end up fifth, I reckon. But yeah,
Nice.
I don't
Okay.
think they'll both lose.
Well, if we end up fifth, there's a high chance we'll play maybe
Well, the
Roosters or
Roosters are on
Penrith.
eighth, they're on
Yeah.
30, and then Penrith are seventh on 31. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know who I'd rather play. I'd rather play the Roosters, even though
Yeah.
they can pile on the points. But I can't see us beating the Panthers. But we could beat the Roosters. We just
Yeah.
have to get Sam Walker out of the game early, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, he didn't play. He didn't play.
Nah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
He didn't play. It was
Savala and Sandon Smith still did a
Sandon Smith, and
pretty good
I
job.
thought
Yeah,
Sandon Smith was pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, they
I
were
thought he
really
was
good.
pretty
Yeah,
good. And no, yeah, you're right. So I mean, normally if you'd ask me the question just during the mid-season, so you would say Bulldogs versus Sharks. I'd say Bulldogs any day, every day of the week. And if you say Storm versus Broncos, I'd say
Yeah,
Storm. But the thing is, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, 6 p.m.
yeah,
when
exactly.
when you don't know what's going to happen. So
Yeah,
I
just
guess
for those who don't
yeah,
know, we're recording on a Monday, so yeah, we haven't seen the
yeah,
teams yet, so that's why we've
yeah.
got this element of mystery around these games.
Yeah, so I said there is still that slight chance that we could make it into the top four, which would be awesome because of the fact that it'll be good to have a life. But for that to happen, we obviously need to win, and we need the Sharks and the Broncos to lose. That's pretty much
Yeah.
that's it right there. That's it right there. So we need the Sharks to lose, the Broncos to lose, and we need to win, and then we're back in the top four, like no questions asked. So it can happen. Thankfully, they're playing those teams in the
Mm.
competition. That's the good thing that they're playing those teams, not like they're not playing like the Knights or something, which works for us. But who knows what can happen? Who knows what's going to happen? So yep. All right, we'll leave that at that, mate. Lastly, just quickly go for a couple of minutes just into the game coming up against Manly. They had a good win on the weekend, and probably wanting to finish this game on a high because it'll be Daly Cherry Evans' last game as well for them.
Yep.
Um, what do you want to see from the Warriors, mate? It's a pretty basic, simple question, but the thing is, we've been playing basic football at the moment, pretty plain football. What do you want to see from the Warriors in this game?
Oh, I mean, you sort of alluded to yeah what I was worried about in the game last week earlier, but you just the lapses of concentration, just a few less of them, eh?
Yeah,
Just stay a bit more focused. Um, we played these guys in round two after our Vegas game, and or would have been round three probably. Oh no, it was round two. And we didn't really give us much of a chance, and we ended up putting 36 points, and I think it was 36-16 in the end. So they'll know that they can, if they turn up and put on a show, they can definitely win this game.
yeah,
It is I mean, it's probably not that important of a game to win, really. Depending on other results.
yeah.
But it could just be one where we just want to see. But yeah, I think lapse of concentration, just a bit more on attack. Like just figure out what to do. As you say before, you use what you got. Use Leka. You know, I feel like we haven't seen much of Dallin in the last few this season, pretty much. But
Yeah.
like he's a classy finisher, but we just haven't really been able to get that right edge really fire, and maybe put up some kicks to him because he's a handy. He's pretty handy up in the air. He might be marking Jason Saab though, so maybe don't do that. The more I think about that.
That's actually a good point though
Um,
you raised though. We know Dallin to be a really good finisher of those tries where he dives in, plants the ball down in the corner there. He hasn't really had the much opportunity to do that because the ball's not getting to him, is it? So that's actually a really good point you make there, and that just shows you again another reason why our attack is not firing. It's
yeah.
just yeah, it's
A
just
few more grubbers as well.
yep,
Just
yep,
just try it out. I feel like we're only doing about one or two a game at the moment, and they're always
mm,
handy to do. Like you don't need to do it to score a try, but you do it to
mm,
just keep some pressure on and like keep force them into making the mistake, trying to do the
yep,
short kick out of their stuff up or whatever. Um, yeah, so it's just, but yeah, just a bit more of a focused game. I think, the fact that we were down, I think it was 20-4, and then we sort of came back, and then we allowed the other try, and it got to 26-16. It's just not good enough for a team, 2 weeks out from the finals, who are, yeah, as I said earlier, like fighting for a spot. So
yeah,
um, we have a relatively good, like a bit of a man record against Manly. Last five have gone Manly, Warriors, draw,
yeah,
Manly, Warriors, draw. So maybe we're in for another draw. I don't know if you remember the infamous was it when Josh Alloway dived at
yeah,
Sean Johnson, I think, and that sent the game to hit his legs and sent the game to Golden Point last year.
yeah,
Obviously, last played them, round two this year, 36-16 win.
yeah,
Manly have won the last three at Four Pines Stadium against the Warriors, and they've scored 98 points in the last two games. But they have conceded 54, so it hasn't been completely. Yeah, but I mean they're averaging 50 points a game in the last two games, so they'll be throwing it around. and it's just how we're able to contain that, like because they're not exactly a team. It hasn't been like Tommy T, going crazy. It hasn't been Daly Cherry Evans going crazy.
Yeah,
But they've got some really good players and Tala Takoala and um, Leo Hopawade and some. I mean, Ruben Garrick's out, but it doesn't seem to be. Luke Brooks is doing a pretty good job on the left edge there. So, um, yeah, keep them under keep them under 30 points and I'll be happy.
yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, the one thing I'm really happy about is that we're playing away from home. Because
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
because honestly, every time we play away from home, I actually feel more confident in us winning. And that's just being honest. And
Yeah,
the stats don't lie as well. The facts don't lie. There, we've actually done better away from home. When we play at Mount Smart, Go Media Stadium, we actually don't do that well. And
it's bizarre, eh?
it is very bizarre because usually your home ground is your fortress, and
Yeah,
where teams are afraid to come and play. But at the moment, every team that's coming against us is actually not afraid to play, and they're actually getting up against us. And no, it's but
well,
yeah,
the fact that we've won 14 games this season, and I think we've lost 5 at home, maybe. Like it's
yep,
pretty insane that we've still
yep,
managed to win 14 games for a team like the Warriors, who
yep,
normally it's the fortress, and we rely on home
yep,
games. Um,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah,
bizarre, and we've been filling out we've been selling the stadium out every week, so
yep,
at least
yep.
the fans are still coming along.
Yep, yeah, no, it is bizarre. It is very bizarre. But that's why I'm saying, they're playing away from home, which gives me more hope because for some reason they just seem to do better away from home. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Is it different air they're breathing over there in Australia? I don't know, but it's I don't know if they maybe a couple of some Fosters that they're drinking over there. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they seem to do a lot better over there. But that's I just want to see attack. I just want them to just say, listen, guys, look, stuff this. We've got to sort our attack out. We need points on the board. I know, and I'm backing the Warriors to just get their defensive stuff sorted again. Because they've been okay on defense. It's not like it's been like a big issue. Sometimes there've been some lapses, but throughout the whole season, like you said, they've been grinding out wins because of defense. So I think they can get that together. But I think what they need to focus on is putting points on the board because that's where they lack, and that's where biting us in the ass. In the end, where it's like with our points. And then I don't want them chasing the game with like 30 minutes to go or 25 minutes to go. I want them to be like play an 80-minute game for
Yeah,
once. Play an 80-minute game for once. Is that much? Is that too much to ask of a
no
professional
way.
footy team? Is it too much to ask? Because they're not doing that. And this is what I mean before. Like I'm being neutral about it. Love the Warriors, but if I'm going to be real, they need to play an 80-minute game and not just a 20-minute, 25-minute game. Because that's what they've been doing, and that's where
Yeah,
why us fans are getting so frustrated with them, with the team. They love the team and they'll always back them, just like us. Like we'll always back them. We'll always back the boys. But the frustration is always there because of the fact that they just keep chasing games when they could have been a lot different when if they played just consistently throughout the whole match. So
mm.
that's my view, mate. So yeah, I mean. We'll leave it at that, mate. Look, it's a big week coming, big weekend of football coming up. Obviously, with the Warriors playing on Friday at Four Pines Park in against Manly, 8 p.m. kickoff time. That's the game where everyone will be glued onto. Then they'll be glued onto the Bulldogs. I mean, that's actually the game that's happening on Thursday night, isn't it? It's actually happening the night before, I think, the Bulldogs game, or is it the
Mm.
Storm game?
So Thursday night's the Storm game, Friday
Yep,
night's the Warriors, and then Saturday night's the
yep.
Sharks game. Um,
So basically, it all begins on Thursday night for
and
the Warrior, the journey. Yeah,
I just have a wee look at the ladder. Dolphins are on 28 points.
I think they can still sneak in just
Yeah, they can
if
still
things go
sneak
their
in, and
way.
their
Yeah,
their points differential is 87, and Roosters are 102. So if the Roosters lose and the Dolphins are able to make up 16 points differential points,
yeah,
it'd be a great result for the Warriors, I reckon.
yeah, yep.
Um, but they've got the Raiders, and I mean the Raiders have got the minor premiership. You imagine they'll rest some players. So um, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what
Yeah.
happens there. And the Roosters have got the Rabbitohs, which is always
Nasty
the
one. Yep.
rivalry.
Yep.
I think there was some rumor that the Trow will be back for that game, so we'll
Well,
see.
It's going to be a big,
Alex
big,
Johnson maybe chasing that infamous record. God, it'd be
yeah.
amazing to see it happen, wouldn't it?
It's going to be a fun weekend of footy, mate. I can tell you that. And everyone's going to be glued on these games, not just their own team's games, but all the other teams' games, because it comes down to results from other teams as well, especially for the Warriors. So
Yeah,
Thursday night, like I said before, the journey for the Warriors fans, it begins on Thursday with that game with the Storm.
yeah.
Um, can I just quickly mention this, mate, quickly, and then we'll wrap it up? Is that at the start of start of the season when we predicted teams where they're going to be, I think you had yeah, you know where I'm going with this, don't you? Yeah, you had the Canberra Raiders, who are your second favorite team, by the way. Just let everyone know that this is Richard's second favorite team, the Canberra Raiders. You you predicted them to have to pick up the wooden spoon.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking that. I was thinking that as I was watching the ceremony the other day of them getting the minor premiership.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I didn't see this coming. That's for sure. I think it was more of those like it wasn't about that much about the team, which I thought was that exciting, which is a really shocking take from me because we've seen the likes of sort of Ethan Strange come of age and Kyle Weeks and
yep,
Xavier Savage, Josh Papali just
yep,
like winding the clock back about 10 years. Joey Tarpany
yep.
probably the best front rower in the comp. So honestly, like shout out to the Raiders. Yeah, I mean I've been loving seeing it. Absolutely, it's
Oh,
been.
mate.
But yeah, I didn't see it coming at the start of the season, and yeah, we should probably clip that one out and just throw that one out there
Oh,
as
mate. Now that
what's
you've now,
what's your hot your worst take at the start of the season which hasn't paid off, because that's 100% mine,
oh, mate, that's
100%.
you've just given me a good idea now. Um, you've just given me a good idea to for something for social media. So thanks for that. But I can't remember who I had as wooden spooners, but it definitely wasn't the Raiders. But
Wasn't the Raiders, no.
I didn't have them up there though. But so they've done pretty well. Good on
Yeah,
them. But one thing that the Raiders have really stuffed up though on is that they've gotten rid of Jamal Fogarty, and
yeah,
he's been amazing, and he's going to Manly now.
yeah,
Now that Cherry Evans is going, he's going to Manly, and that he will be a huge loss. I know, like the likes of even Strange, etc. They've got players that are doing so well, but you can't fault Fogarty's input this season. He's been immense for the Raiders in the way they've gone in their attack. He's been awesome,
yeah,
and then they let him go. They could have had him. They
mm,
could have. He wanted to stay, I think, but they let him go. So I
yeah.
didn't understand that. But yeah,
They just couldn't afford him. Like, I think for
yeah,
what he was worth, I think Ricky Stewart was pretty honest about it and said, look, we want him to stay, but
yeah,
like the deal that he was getting at Manly, that like I think he was quite clearly just like, we can't match that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I didn't mention him before, but yeah, I mean he's been sensational.
yeah.
So
He is.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he can do at Manly next year. But nah, yeah, shout out to the Raiders. Just love to see it.
Yep,
The Milks first minor premiership in about 30 years, I think. So
yep,
I just hope they can, keep it going and keep the run going and at least make it to the grand final. I hope it's not a, you know, storm Penrith grand final. No one wants to see that. We want to
yeah.
see the Raiders.
Yep,
Come
fair
on.
enough. Fair call, fair call. Well, congratulations to the Milk Duds. Look, we'll wrap it up from there, mate. Any last words you want to shout out to anybody, or any last things you want to say before we clock off here?
Nah, just shout out to everyone who's listening and commenting, loving seeing it all.
Yep.
And yeah, up the Mighty Wars this weekend against the Manly Sea Eagles. Actually, I'll shout out to Andrew Barry. He's a big Manly Sea Eagles fan. I think he tunes in from time to time. So if he are listening, Baz, yeah, sorry about this weekend.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I've seen that name come up on social media on our channels before with comments. So okay, I didn't realize I was a Seagulls fan. Okay, all good, all good, all good. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, we're really thankful for the support. The support continues to grow every week on all our channels. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So if you're listening in right now and you haven't, gone to our channels and subscribed, please give us a hand and subscribe to this channel on YouTube, also Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Spotify as well. So yeah, we're really thankful for the support. And as always, up the wires, and hopefully we'll be in the top four by the end of this weekend. So for now, have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Choo choo, we've got the fifth.
Touchdown! Today to the end! We are